Hey Cowichan, it's Alec Wheeler, Events and Membership Manager with the Duncan Cowichan Chamber of Commerce, and we're here with Biz Banter. Today I have with me John Close from Lush Eco Lawns and Gardens, and John's going to chat to me a little bit about how business is going for the team there. Now, John, social distancing is kind of already part of how you guys operate, so
yeah.
How has this affected you, if at all?
Well, I mean, I think the initial impact really hit us, just like it hit everybody, because I've often said there's no playbook for COVID. You know, we're writing the book, we're living the book right now. And so it's just like one day they canceled like the NHL. Just from my perspective, this is what happened. And then like the next day, it's like the world shut down. And so at first we were just kind of reeling like everybody, like, you know, we're business owners, but we're people first, right? And so first I had to like come to grips with what this meant for myself. Like I had to do the emotional work of like, what's this mean for me as a business owner and a father and a husband and a neighbor and a citizen and a member of the chamber and all these things. So that was the initial challenge for me, was going through like all that stuff, because we can't really be good leaders if we don't start by leading ourselves. And so I did that. And then it was like, oh yeah, right. You know, it's March, like stuff is growing. What's the plan here? And really for us, like you said, Alec, like we work outdoors. And so I would say most of the time we don't really see people. Like most of the time, our clients are either at work or inside, they'll wave to us, that kind of thing. But we've kind of been already used to be working in isolation. But we do work in crews. And so that was the biggest change we had to make right off the bat is, you know, we have 4 or 5 trucks. Often those trucks are full of, you know, 3 or 4 sweaty landscapers. And, you know, and all this talk about like droplets and like, you know, wet air and moisture. And it's just like, that's a landscaper. I mean, you just described a landscaper. And so right away it's like, okay, so we can't pack the truck anymore. And, that was the biggest change we had to make, is like, okay, if we can't pack the truck, then what are we going to do? Well, then we got to start paying out of pocket for employees to follow in their cars, just because, you know, we want to do our part and not just be like, oh, what's a big deal? You know, it'll be fine. We sort of did the hard work there initially and split up the crews, and just it required a bit more planning and stuff. But to be honest, I didn't really resist it that much or even complain about it, because I'm like, we're still open. I mean, I have just too many friends across the valley who have had to shut their doors. You know, everyone from Simon Young at Monkey Bar, because he runs a gym. You know, I think of George and Evelyn at the Farm Table Inn, and then all my other friends who own restaurants. I mean, there's just so many people I've seen that have to close their doors, and I'm like, I got to rearrange my crews. Oh, poor me, right? So I felt like our sort of pivot was kind of fortunate. It was a pivot so we could keep going. Yeah, that kind of answered your question, and probably a few other ones you didn't ask me. Yeah, there you go.
Now, we were chatting off camera a little bit about this topic, and you mentioned that perhaps less so than the bottom line or how your business operates, the impact's been more about the relationships.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably one of our core values, well, for sure, there's no probably about it. One of our core values at Lush is our relationships with each other and our clients. That means everything. Yeah, you know, we're horticulturists and we take care of plants and lawns and things like that. But at the end of the day, we serve people. We count ourselves very lucky and privileged to be able to be ushered into people's private spaces and decorate and do our thing. And so often the clients are out kind of on the deck and they're talking to us, and often a lot of them brew us coffee and cookies and bring them out to us while we're working, and they chat with us and they get our advice on things. And now they've been kind of like forced inside, and we've been forced to kind of waving and you know, talking over email and stuff like that. And so we felt that disconnect, not only in the trucks with each other, but on the yards with our clients. And then me with my consults, you know, I'm doing dozens of consults a week, just up and down the island. And I'm very like, you can tell, you know, I'm a personable guy. I like to get close and talk and make a connection. And I felt that disconnect even in the consults. We'd keep like a 10-foot perimeter, and I'm like pointing instead of like showing. And so it eroded that value a little bit, or not eroded it, but challenged it. And we sort of felt that loss.
What do you do to kind of meet that loss? How do you compensate for that? Because yes, we're looking at a very gradual restart plan, but we're not out of the woods. This is going to be a long road to recovery, and certainly a long time before we're back to normal, if normal even exists anymore. So what do you do to combat that feeling of disconnect? And talk to us about that.
I mean, a few of the things I've done with the clients in particular is I do enjoy writing in my free time. So I was very communicative on emails and sending quite sometimes humorous emails, or just things that would maybe kind of, speak to the elephant in the room about speaking to the disconnection. And I just tried to be more communicative than I was even before. And then, on the properties, like, it's just getting used to a new normal. And I think that's the biggest challenge, is instead of sort of feeling that heaviness all the time because we can't do business as normal, we just kind of have to adapt to like, okay, well, this is how we now do business again, whilst still remaining true to our values. Like, the clients can still, we could still be connected to them without having that full connection that we've been used to having. It's just, I think a lot of it is just more of a mindset shift, right? Like you can't change things we can't change, right? Like we can't, this is out of our control, and that's what's caused the most pain from the whole thing. But for us to try and like, when we try and resist that or get mad at it or blame it or do the pity party, it's not helpful.
It doesn't do anybody any good.
No, it's not helpful at all. And so what we can change those, how we react, and just adapting our business a little bit. And so we have felt that connection through that. In some ways, it's almost made us feel more connected on a deeper level because we're all in it together. And I've talked with the clients over email about it, and some on the phone about it. And we've shared even some of our fears and some of our, the feelings about it. And it's brought us together even more, in a strange way, even though we can have that usual, like, day-to-day banter and connection.
You talk about all in it together, and very early on in March, when this all kind of hit the fan, you took to social media and said that your teams were available to do drop-offs and pickups, from prescriptions to groceries to anything that your clients needed. So where did that come from?
So, where that came from was a value I have. And it's a value I have as individuals and as leaders. And the value is if you are able to do something, you should do it. If you have the talent or gift to do it, then you should use it for the betterment of people. And as a business, this was an easy one for us. We're set up for this already. We're literally going up and down the island to various people's houses. And we're there for, half an hour at a time. So it's easy for us to pick up things along the way and do it. I mean, people were like, oh my gosh, you're so generous or unbelievable. And it's like, I mean, okay, like call it what you want, but really we're just doing something we're already doing. I mean, we're just basically just, being available. And so not everyone could do that. Some people don't have that ability. And so they should do something that they can do. There's lots of other businesses that have adapted and done things that they're able to do because they're set up for it. So great, they should do that. And when we're all kind of in our sweet spot doing what we can do with how we're set up, then like we help everybody. So it wasn't just like a random idea, like, we'll go up and down the island and deliver groceries to people. It's like, we're already going up and down the island. I mean, it's really not a big, change for us. And
did you find that your clients were comfortable like asking for that help and reaching out?
Yeah, I mean, some, we weren't, it wasn't like it was a full-time job, but we delivered groceries a few times, and I just think even just, it's so funny. It really doesn't take a lot of kindness to transform people, you know, and all this was just us simply offering it. And our clients, I mean, the emails we received were, I mean, just, they were very touched by the offer. We're Canadian, so we don't often take people up on the offer, but we like to have the offer.
Yeah.
It's so some people did, and that was cool. But you know, who knows? You know, the offer still stands.
So the province recently announced that they've got this 4-phase restart plan, and we're moving into phase 2, basically at the end of this week, mid-May. Have you had a chance to kind of look at that plan, and what are your thoughts on it?
Full disclosure, I have not a chance to really look at the plan. So if you're quizzing me on the plan, I'm failing right now live for everybody's entertainment. I don't know the plan. I know the plan is the restrictions are going to ease a bit. And so I've heard rumors that places like you're all probably wondering, when the hell is he going to cut this thing? I hear that's part of the plan, that Victory Barber is going to be opening. Maybe, I don't know, barbers, salons, maybe that's part of the plan. I think that's supposed to happen at the end of the month. Is that right?
Yeah, I think they're in the mix. Yep.
So that's good. But I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, it's been 2 solid months of heaviness, you know, and so we all want some lightness. But like, the way to get lightness isn't to like close our minds to the truth and reality and just like go to the other extreme. And that's been one of my great learnings in this 2 months, is like both extremes have been on full display in our world to the COVID. Like people have either gone in denial, or they've gone to like full-blown panic. You know, we've seen the images of people just like rushing through Costco with carts full of toilet paper, you know, preparing for Armageddon. You know, and then we've seen the extremes the other way, you know, and it's just, it's unhelpful. And so I just think, let's not go to the extreme with the reopening plan. Let's not just be like, yeah, there was only like 6 cases today on the island. It was just announced, or 6 cases in all of BC. Man, there's like 5 million people in BC. That's nothing. I mean, there's basically nothing. Let's just reopen everything. You know, it's the whole thing. It's like, there's only been 6 cases because of what we're doing. It's like, remember that, like, this is why, you know, we're in this position, because of what we're doing. So let's not abandon what we've been doing. You know, let's look at it and say, okay, which parts do we need to are integral to our success moving forward, and which parts can kind of be flexible and lessened a little bit. And I'm glad I don't have that job. You know, that must, like, whoever's got the job to be like, okay, where's the balance here? What can we flex on, and what is like a non-negotiable? I think that is going to be the discussion moving forward, is those 2 things, the flex and the non-negotiable. And I think the non-negotiables are like large groups, obviously. As much as I want like hockey to start up again and sports and probably concerts and gatherings, I'm sure that's going to be in like phase 44.
Yes.
Right.
Well, phase 4, as they say, which is only going to happen when there is either a vaccine or a large percentage of community immunity built up to it. So
right. So
a long way off from that one.
Could be years, right? I mean, truly.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's like, I find this whole thing has just also been a great teaching for the world on just like how to approach life. And there's so many great teaches that I've gotten from this experience, not just as a business owner, but as a person. And you know, one of them for sure is just, you know, learning to relax into the unknown and what we can't control. That is just probably the most important thing we can do to have peace and relief in our life. And as business owners, we don't like things that are not under our control and that are not known. We hate it. You know, we're entrepreneurs and business owners probably because we didn't like it when someone else was in control. And so we like to have this control now, but the reality is, you know, as one of my favorite authors says, you know, we're looking for permanence in an impermanent world. And you know, if you're looking for that, you're probably on the wrong planet. So as business owners, it's just moving forward. We have to realize there are some things we can control, great, and a lot of things we can't. Relax into it, because we could probably handle a lot more than we think.
That's A fantastic message, John, and I think we're going to keep it short and sweet and end it on that note. And I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. And quick shout out to your team who came and did my my much needed weeding down our path, which we hate, and filled up our garden box, which now has a beautiful array of plants and flowers in it. So thanks for bringing a little joy to our home.
Well, and thanks for supporting us, and thanks for doing this. You know, we love what we do, and I think that shows. And so, yeah, it's this has been great.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today, John. And that's been another session of Biz Banter with the Duncan Cowichan Chamber of Commerce. See you next time.